The journey of Siddhartha, from prince in the palace to the enlightened one. What if everything you ever knew, every comfort, every luxury, every cherished belief, was merely a gilded cage? What if the path to true freedom, to ultimate peace, lay not in accumulation but in letting go? Over 2.5 millennia ago, an extraordinary life echoed through time, profoundly altering humanity's understanding of existence itself. This is not just a story. It is an invitation to a different way of seeing, a journey into the heart of awakening. Tonight, on Buddha Story, we will peel back the layers of history, legend, and profound wisdom to explore the singular quest of the man who would become the Buddha. And I promise you, what you are about to discover will challenge everything you've ever thought about life, suffering, and the elusive nature of happiness. Stay with us. Chapter 1, The Prophecy and the Divine Light. A kingdom on the edge of eternity. About 2,600 years ago, in the lush, fertile plains of what is now Nepal, nestled beneath the towering Himalayas, there thrived a prosperous kingdom. Its name was Kapilavastu, and within its sacred walls, a destiny was being woven, one that would profoundly reshape the spiritual landscape of the world. This kingdom was not merely a geographical location. It was the crucible for a consciousness that would ultimately illuminate the darkest corners of human suffering. It was the ancestral home of the Sakya clan, a lineage steeped in ancient traditions and noble aspirations. From this very lineage would emerge an individual, unique among humankind, whose insights would shed light on the very fabric of life's perennial questions, offering a path to liberation for countless beings. The ruler of this esteemed kingdom was King Suddhodana, a strong, righteous man who deeply loved his people. Beside him, radiating grace and wisdom, was his queen, Mahamaya. Their marriage was one of mutual respect and shared responsibility, and within this royal household, the seed of an extraordinary future began to sprout. Queen Mahamaya's divine dream. One tranquil evening, as the moon cast its gentle glow over Kapilavastu, Queen Mahamaya awoke from her sleep, her heart stirred by an unprecedented experience. She gently roused her husband, her voice filled with wonder. Mahamaya, "Oh, my lord, where am I? What has happened?" King Suddhodana, softly, "What is it, my love?" Mahamaya, "Ah, yes, I had a dream, a divine dream." The king, familiar with the ancient wisdom that dreams in the first watch of the night often held deep significance, listened intently. Mahamaya, the sky was filled with a brilliant white light, so pure, so radiant, and from it descended a magnificent white elephant, adorned with 6 splendid tusks. It entered my chamber, not through the door but effortlessly, gracefully, and then it entered my side. A silence lingered, heavy with the resonance of this extraordinary vision. Mahamaya, I felt joy. My heart was filled with indescribable happiness, a profound sense of peace. The king, too, sensed the weight of this dream's meaning. He knew this was no ordinary vision. King Suddhodana, this is wondrous. I shall summon the royal astrologer at once to interpret this profound dream. True to his word, the kingdom's most revered astrologer was summoned. After hours of deep contemplation and intricate calculations, he delivered a proclamation that would forever alter the course of history. Royal astrologer, O king, I have deciphered the queen's dream. This kingdom is destined to welcome a great prince. The queen shall bear a son who will become a man unlike any before him. One day, the entire world will deeply benefit from this prince's wisdom and compassion. A wave of joyous relief washed over the king. King Suddhodana, thank the heavens, my dream has come true. I shall have a son, an heir who will not only continue my lineage but surpass it in greatness. The auspicious birth in Lumbini. As the months passed, Queen Mahamaya, following ancient custom, expressed her desire to return to her parents' home in Devadaha to give birth, a tradition meant to ensure the child's health and honor her lineage. Mahamaya, my lord, as is tradition, I wish to return to my parents' home to deliver our child. King Suddhodana, as you wish, my love. I shall arrange your journey with the utmost care. Take care of yourself and our child. And so, the queen, accompanied by her loyal attendants, began her journey. As they neared the serene and verdant gardens of Lumbini, a place of tranquil beauty, Queen Mahamaya suddenly felt an urge to rest. Mahamaya, oh, I am so weary. Where are we? Ah, what a beautiful place. Let us stop and rest here a while. As she spoke, a strange sensation suddenly enveloped her. Mahamaya, I believe the child is coming. At that very moment, she reached out to the branch of a sal tree, and miraculously, as if in reverence, the branch bent down to meet her outstretched hand. And there, unlike other women who gave birth seated or lying down, Queen Mahamaya delivered her child standing, holding onto the bending branch. It was a birth unlike any other, a testament to the extraordinary nature of the being entering the world. On that full moon day in Lumbini's gardens, Queen Mahamaya gave birth to a prince without equal, one destined not only to rule the world, but to become the greatest spiritual master the world had ever known. And in that instant, the newborn Prince Siddhartha immediately took 7 steps, and with each step, a lotus flower miraculously bloomed from the earth to receive him. Raising one finger to the sky and another to the earth, the prince declared in a voice clear and resonant, "In heaven and on earth, I am the most revered teacher of gods and men. This is my final birth upon this earth." The attendants, witnessing this astonishing sight, were filled with awe and wonder at the child's serene beauty and profound proclamation. Attendant 1, "Oh, such a pure face." Attendant 2, "Let us return to Kapilavastu. The king must be eager to meet his son." And so, Queen Mahamaya, with her miraculous child, returned to Kapilavastu. News of the prince's birth spread like wildfire throughout the kingdom, igniting joy and anticipation. King Suddhodana, to his ministers, prepare a grand welcome. "My son is coming home." When they arrived, King Suddhodana gazed upon his son, his heart swelling with pride and love. King Suddhodana, "My love, look at our son. So beautiful. You are home, my son. Let us go inside." Later, as they reflected on this momentous event, the king pondered a name for his extraordinary child. King Suddhodana, "Shall we name the boy?" Queen Mahamaya, "Yes, I have been thinking of that." King Suddhodana, "What about Siddhartha?" Siddhartha means wish fulfilled. Queen Mahamaya, "Siddhartha, a lovely name, truly is a wish fulfilled." The following day, a grand naming ceremony was held, celebrating the arrival of this blessed child.
Chapter 2: Prophecy's Shadow and a Compassionate Heart. The sage Asita's dual prophecy. Word of the extraordinary birth of Prince Siddhartha reached far and wide, even to the ears of Asita, a revered sage who had long renounced worldly pleasures and lived in profound meditation. Intrigued by the accounts, Asita felt compelled to visit the newborn prince. "Asita, let me visit the prince." Upon his arrival at the palace, the king and queen, along with their court, extended a heartfelt welcome to the esteemed sage. King Suddhodana, "Welcome, O great sage. We are truly blessed by your presence." Queen Mahamaya, "Welcome, O great sage. Please bless our child." Asita approached the infant, who lay peacefully. To the astonishment of all present, instead of merely blessing the child, the great sage saluted Siddhartha, bowing before the newborn. A moment later, his expression shifted, a mix of profound happiness and deep sorrow etching across his wise face. King Suddhodana, sage, what is this? Why were you first happy and then sad? Asita, O king, your son is no ordinary child. I am certain he will grow up to be more than a great man. If the prince stayed with you and chose to rule the kingdom, he would become the greatest king, a universal monarch. He would rule a vast kingdom, and his people would live in peace and prosperity. A ripple of pride and satisfaction went through the king and queen. This was exactly what they desired for their son. But Asita continued, his voice resonating with deeper truth. Asita, however, if he makes the decision not to become a king, his future would be infinitely greater. He will become a great teacher, a Buddha, who would show the people the way to live with their hearts filled with boundless love and profound peace, guiding them out of the cycle of suffering. The king's heart sank at the second part of the prophecy. He wanted a mighty ruler, not a spiritual renunciant. King Suddhodana, thank you, but why were you first happy and then sad? Asita, I was happy because he would become a great teacher, a fully awakened one, bringing immense benefit to all beings. But I was sad because I would not be alive to benefit from his superior wisdom, to hear his profound teachings. My life's journey will conclude before his enlightenment. With that, sage Asita took his leave, his words leaving a heavy weight in the king's heart. King Suddhodana, to himself, I want my son to be a great ruler and not a teacher, a mother's passing and a young prince's compassion. Tragically, only 7 days after giving birth to her extraordinary son, the beloved Queen Mahamaya passed away. Her younger sister, Mahapajapati Gautami, who was also married to King Suddhodana, adopted the infant Siddhartha, taking profound care of him, raising him with boundless love as if he were her own. Years rolled by, and the prince grew into a bright, handsome, and remarkably kind-hearted boy. His intelligence was evident from a young age. King Suddhodana, it's time for me to arrange for his education. I will appoint the best teachers in the kingdom for him. Yet, within days, the teachers came to the king with a surprising report. Teacher, oh welcome, teacher. How is my son doing in studies? Teacher, your majesty, the prince does not need us anymore. After only a few lessons, he has learned everything we have to teach him. In fact, he has taught us a few things that we ourselves never knew before. The king beamed with pride. I am really proud of him. With his intelligence, my son will certainly grow up to be a wise and powerful king. Despite his extraordinary intellect, Siddhartha possessed a unique disposition. While other boys his age engaged in boisterous games, he often preferred solitude and quiet reflection. King Suddhodana, son, why don't you go and play with the other boys? They are quarreling with each other. Siddhartha, softly, I do not like it. I love to spend my time in peace. Siddhartha always played gently with animals and spent much of his time alone, immersed in the tranquility of the palace gardens. This quiet contemplation was a precursor to his deeper quest. The swan incident, a testament to kindness. One day, as the young prince sat peacefully in the garden, a flock of white swans gracefully flew overhead. Suddenly, an arrow, sharp and swift, streaked through the air, striking one of the swans. With a pained cry, the majestic bird fell from the sky, landing in the garden near Siddhartha. Without hesitation, Siddhartha gently picked up the wounded swan, his heart filled with empathy. Siddhartha, to the swan, oh, my poor swan, do not be afraid. I shall take care of you. Here, let me remove this arrow and apply this medicine. Now you will be out of danger. As he tenderly cared for the bird, Devdatta, Siddhartha's cousin, came running into the garden, his face flushed with excitement and pride. Devdatta, Siddhartha. Siddhartha. Great news. I got a swan. You should have seen my aim. I hit it with my first shot. It fell down somewhere near here. Help me look for it. Devdatta's eyes then fell upon the swan in Siddhartha's arms. Devdatta, what? This is my arrow. Where is my bird? Siddhartha, it's with me. Yes, I can see it. Devdatta, you took my swan. Give it back to me. I shot it and it's mine. Don't ever touch it. Siddhartha, calmly, I found this bird lying here, bleeding, and I don't plan to give it to anyone while it is still wounded. It belongs to me. Devdatta, angrily, it belongs to me. I shot it fair and square, and you have stolen it from me. Give it back or I will take it back. Siddhartha, it belongs to the sky and should be set free to go on its way as soon as it is able to fly. Until it recovers, it is mine since I saved its life. The two boys stood their ground, arguing heatedly for some time. Devdatta grew increasingly angry, but Siddhartha steadfastly refused to relinquish the swan. Finally, Siddhartha, with his innate wisdom, proposed a solution. Siddhartha, when two grown-ups have a problem like this, they settle it in court, in front of a group of wise people. Each one explains his case, then the wise people decide what is right. I think you and I should do the same. Devdatta, though reluctant, agreed, seeing it as the only way to reclaim what he believed was his. And so, the two cousins went to the palace and appeared before the king and his ministers. King Suddhodana, Father, we are here to settle our dispute over the swan. Let me hear your story first. Both Devdatta and Siddhartha presented their arguments. The court, however, was divided and could not arrive at a unanimous verdict. It was then that a very old man, whom no one remembered ever seeing before, entered the court. He exuded an aura of profound wisdom. Old man, everyone values his or her life more than anything else in the world. Therefore, I think that the swan belongs to the person who tried to save its life, not the person who tried to take its life away. So, the swan rightfully belongs to Siddhartha. Everyone in the court, from the king to the lowliest attendant, immediately recognized the profound truth in the old man's words. They unanimously agreed, and the prince was allowed to keep the swan. Later, when the king tried to find the old man and reward him for his wisdom, he was nowhere to be found. King Suddhodana, this is very strange. I wonder where he came from and where he went. This was just one of many unusual occurrences concerning the prince, leading many to believe he was indeed a very special person, touched by the divine. This incident, while seemingly minor, was a crucial early demonstration of Siddhartha's deep-seated compassion and his innate understanding of the sanctity of life, a core tenet of the path he would later teach. It foreshadowed his future role as a protector of all sentient beings. Chapter 3: A Gilded Cage and a King's Despair. A King's Worries. The Path Not Taken. As Siddhartha came of age, he became renowned and loved by everyone, not just for his royal status, but for his inherent kindness and peaceful nature. Yet, despite his popularity, King Suddhodana harbored a growing worry. The prophecy of a Sita weighed heavily on his mind. His son, though brilliant, showed little interest in the pursuits of a future king, military strategies, political maneuvering, or the art of governance. King Suddhodana, to his minister, Siddhartha is too gentle and sensitive. How could a king without drive and daring truly rule? I want him to grow up to be a great king. Kings must be strong and powerful. He is more interested in sitting peacefully in the garden than he is in learning how to be the ruler of a kingdom. The minister, sensing the king's deep distress, offered reassurance. Minister, "Do not worry, Your Majesty. We will look for a way to change our prince. If he becomes a great teacher, as sage Asita predicted, your wish of his becoming a great king will remain unfulfilled." The king paced restlessly. The thought of his lineage not continuing through a powerful monarch deeply troubled him. King Suddhodana. "King, I have a suggestion. The prince should be married. Perhaps getting him out of his dream world and into the real world with the responsibilities of a family will shift his focus." The king's eyes lit up with a flicker of hope. "Hope this idea will work out. Let's start our search for a beautiful princess worthy of my son." Days passed as suitable candidates were considered. "Minister, my lord, I suggest that Princess Yashodhara, daughter of King Sapabuddha, would be a perfect match." King Suddhodana. "Then let me begin immediately." The contest for Yashodhara. The royal entourage, led by King Suddhodana, journeyed to the kingdom of King Sapabuddha. King Sapabuddha. "Welcome, King Suddhodana. We are honored by your visit. Tell me, your great one." "Thanks for your great welcome. We are here to talk about an important proposal." King Suddhodana. "We are here to ask for your daughter's hand for our Prince Siddhartha." King Sapabuddha, a shrewd ruler, paused. While Siddhartha was a noble prince, his reputation for gentleness and lack of warrior skills was known. King Sapabuddha. "I would like to tell you that there are lots of other excellent young men who want to marry my daughter. I will arrange for a contest. The prince should compete to marry my daughter." King Suddhodana, though internally worried, had no choice but to agree. King Suddhodana, to his minister, "My worries have doubled now. Siddhartha has never shown the slightest liking for warrior games. Then how will he win among skilled contestants?" But Siddhartha, having heard of the challenge, stepped forward, his eyes alight with a newfound resolve. "Siddhartha, do not worry, father. I will win the contest. I will do whatever is required to make Yashodhara my bride." The day of the contest arrived, and Siddhartha participated alongside other formidable princes. The first contest was archery. Siddhartha remarkably pierced 7 drums in a row, a feat of incredible strength and precision. The second contest was sportsmanship, where he excelled. The third was horsemanship, where he displayed masterful control. Though there were many skilled contestants, Siddhartha excelled in all the sports, winning not only by sheer display of strength and skill, but also with his tender and caring nature, which shone through even in competition. His victory was decisive. King Sapabuddha. Let's announce the marriage of Prince Siddhartha with Princess Yashodhara. The king and minister, relieved and hopeful, set about making arrangements. King Suddhodana, to his minister, to make our prince engage in normal life. We need to keep him happy. Yes, let's make the necessary arrangements. The 3 palaces and a life of engineered pleasure. The marriage was held with great pomp and show, a truly grand affair that lasted for days. On this joyous occasion, King Suddhodana presented his son with an extraordinary wedding gift, 3 magnificent palaces, each meticulously designed to provide comfort and pleasure according to the season. King Suddhodana, on this occasion, I gift you 3 wonderful palaces, a Rama palace for the winter season, a Surama palace for the summer season, and a Sabha palace for the rainy season. See to it that he is entertained the whole day and not allowed to see anything sad, unpleasant, or pathetic. For many years, Siddhartha lived a life of unparalleled luxury and sensory delight, carefully shielded from the harsher realities of the world. The king's plans seemed to be working. King Suddhodana, to himself, my plans are working out so well. After dinner, the prince would relax by listening to sweet, melodious music and graceful dancers. Yet, beneath the veneer of constant pleasure, a subtle restlessness began to stir within Siddhartha's heart. One evening, he felt a deeper yearning. Siddhartha, Oh, I feel restless. Tell me, oh great singer, will you sing a song you have never sung before? The singer, accustomed to singing only of joy and beauty, complied, her voice weaving tales of the world's marvels, of travels to faraway lands, of happy people living in golden cities, of adventures beyond the palace walls. As the song concluded, a profound curiosity ignited within Siddhartha. Siddhartha, I would like to know whether there are such beautiful places as described in the song Beyond the Garden Walls. I think I have lots of things to explore in this mysterious world. Let me talk to my father.
Chapter 4. The Unveiling of Suffering, the Four Sights. The first glimpse, old age. The next day, Siddhartha approached his father with a request that would inadvertently unravel the king's meticulously constructed world. Siddhartha, son, come dear. Siddhartha, yes, father. I am curious to see the outside world. I feel as if I have been caged in the palace, totally unaware of all the wonders of the world. I want to go out and see the outside world. Please arrange for a trip outside the palace. The king's heart sank. This was precisely what he feared. King Suddhodana to himself, that son, my suggestion is, please do not give any excuses. Arrange for a trip. He knew that outright refusal would only intensify Siddhartha's curiosity. He reluctantly agreed, but immediately summoned his chief minister. King Suddhodana to Minister, did you hear this? Siddhartha has requested for a trip, and I have accepted. If I say no, then his eagerness will grow. He should not encounter any unpleasant thing. Yes, you are right. Let's do it this way. We will pass an order that everyone should decorate their houses and look happy. The king issued a royal decree. The entire city of Kapilavastu was to be beautified, and all its inhabitants were to present themselves in their finest attire, with expressions of unadulterated joy. No sign of suffering, age, or illness was to be visible. The following day, Channa, the prince's charioteer, drove the chariot through the capital city. It was Siddhartha's first glimpse of Kapilavastu beyond the palace walls. The whole kingdom came out onto the streets, eager to catch a glimpse of their handsome young prince. Crowd. We are really fortunate. One day he will be our ruler. Long live our prince. Siddhartha to Channa. Everyone is happy. I see a smile on everyone's face. The song was right. This is a beautiful and wonderful city. As they continued, a flicker of something unusual caught Siddhartha's eye in the carefully orchestrated crowd. Siddhartha. Channa. Why is that man so different from the others? The one over there, in the crowd, waving? Channa's heart tightened. He saw the old man, bent with age, his once vibrant face now lined with wrinkles, his movements slow and unsteady. Channa hesitantly, oh, he's an old man, prince. Siddhartha. Old meaning? Channa. Meaning his days are over. He too was strong, healthy like others used to be. But slowly his strength was lost, and as a result his body got bent. His cheeks lost their color. He lost most of his teeth like him. A chill ran down Siddhartha's spine. A terrifying realization dawned upon him. Siddhartha. Well, I too will become old? And my father too will become old? Channa, yes, prince. Everyone will become old. Yashodhara, Prince Rahul, everyone. Everyone born on this earth will become old, prince. Every moment of every day a person grows older. Siddhartha was utterly shocked. This was the cruel, undeniable reality of life, a truth he had been meticulously shielded from. Siddhartha. I am shocked. This is the cruel reality of life. Imskarit. My trip has been spoiled. Let's go back, Channa. We will. Despite Channa's attempts to lift his spirits, Siddhartha remained deeply disturbed. He did not eat and sat alone, pondering the inescapable grip of old age. The second glimpse, sickness. The next day, sensing his son's profound distress, the king arranged for another outing, this time with even stricter measures to ensure Siddhartha encountered nothing upsetting. King Suddhodana, to Minister, let's arrange for another trip. This time strict care has to be taken to keep our prince happy. As you say, my lord. Channa again drove the chariot, and the people seemed even happier. A festival atmosphere pervading the city. Siddhartha. Happy, stop. Stop the chariot, Channa. Channa, alarmed prince, come with me. Siddhartha. Can you see there? Why is that man lying on the road? Channa, prince, he is a sick man. Siddhartha. Why is he giving out such strange sounds? Channa. Prince, he is coughing, he is ill. Siddhartha. What has brought him to this pass? Channa. There are a number of reasons. But his body has grown weak, and he is no longer able to resist the illnesses that visit one. Siddhartha. Will all the happy people become sick one day? Channa. Yes, prince, and no one is saved from illness. Siddhartha was utterly disheartened. The initial shock of old age was now compounded by the vulnerability of the body to disease. Siddhartha. I am totally depressed. I don't understand how people can be so happy when they could become sick any moment. Let's go back, Channa. The prince was even more profoundly depressed and did not speak to anyone on the return journey. His father, observing his son's withdrawn state, grew increasingly anxious. King Suddhodana. Lord, our prince is not his usual self. He has been greatly disturbed. I pray to God that my fear should not come true this time. He should not see any sight that will disturb him in the least. The third glimpse, death. Again, the city was filled with festival and joy, orchestrated by the king. Channa, prince, forget what you saw yesterday. See there how beautiful those children are. Turn aside for a lovely garden, yes. Siddhartha. But, stop, Channa. Channa, thinking, oh my God, this time what has he seen? Siddhartha's gaze had fallen upon a group of weeping people gathered around a still, lifeless figure. Siddhartha. Channa, the man is lying still, but the people around him are crying. And now, where are they carrying him? Channa. Prince, the person is dead, and he is being taken to be burned. Siddhartha. What do you mean by dead? And if they burn his body, will it not burn him? Please, Channa, explain what you mean so I can understand. Channa, burdened by the task, began to explain the inexorable cycle of life. Channa. Prince, a baby grows into a child, and then a young man who then goes through the joy and happiness of life, bringing up a family, working for a living, growing older and weaker, finally is dead. Every person has to die one day. These words, uttered innocently by the charioteer, struck the prince like a thunderbolt. The finality, the inevitability of death, resonated deep within his being. Siddhartha, do you mean that one day my wife, my child, my friends, and I will all be dead? Channa, disciplines, let's go. No, prince, I will take you to another place, a beautiful garden. A grand feast will be ready. But Siddhartha was beyond distraction. He was lost in a profound existential crisis. The pleasant facade of his world had been irrevocably shattered. The fourth glimpse, renunciation. On his way back, amid his turmoil, Siddhartha saw a fourth and profoundly different sight. A dignified hermit, his face radiating a serene calm, his demeanor peaceful and unburdened. This ascetic, with his shaven head and simple robes, walked with a quiet strength, a stark contrast to the suffering and despair Siddhartha had just witnessed. The first three sights had convincingly proved to him the universal ailments of humanity: old age, sickness, and death. This fourth form, the hermit, signified the means to overcome these ills of life and to attain calm and peace. These four unexpected signs served to increase Siddhartha's urgent desire to renounce the world. Siddhartha. Let's go. I'm not interested in anything now. I wonder how people can be so happy when they know that they will die one day? Why do people bother to dress up when one day they are going to be consigned to the flames? Siddhartha was lost in his thoughts of old age, sickness, and death. He was deeply thinking about the mystery of death, the impermanence of all things. Just then, a royal messenger arrived with news. Royal messenger. Prince. Happy news. Princess Yashodhara has given birth to a son. Siddhartha, dully you go, I will come. He was unmoved by the joyous tidings. The birth of his son seemed to him not a new beginning, but another link in the chain of suffering. Yashodhara, not knowing his state of mind, named their son Rahula. The word Rahula in ancient Pali means fetter or bondage. To Siddhartha, in his awakened state of mind, it became a symbol of the very ties that bound beings to the cycle of existence. Chapter 5. The Great Renunciation of Fetter Broken. The Call of the Forest. The young prince had lost interest in everything. The vibrant colors of his world had faded to gray. Everyone around him was saddened to see the profound changes in their beloved Siddhartha. His customary gentle smile was replaced by a look of deep contemplation, almost anguish. Siddhartha, to his father, Father, give me permission to leave this palace and go somewhere else. I prefer a change of place. The worried king, desperate to ease his son's distress, readily accepted, misinterpreting his son's desire as a need for a mere change of scenery, rather than a profound spiritual calling. King Suddhodana, if that will make you happy, I give you permission. Ministers, keep a close watch and stay near him and take care of him. Siddhartha left the palace for a time, exploring the countryside. One day, he saw a man and his ox plowing the fields. He sat down there, observing the raw, unadorned reality of life and struggle. He saw the plow cut across the earth, turning up worms. He then witnessed a bird swoop down from above and eat the worm. A snake, hidden in a bush, quickly attacked and consumed a frog. And then an eagle swooped down, seized the snake and flew away. Siddhartha, what suffering the creatures go through! I do not like to see this sad and miserable existence in this world. He sat under a roseapple tree and began to meditate, a deep contemplation on the suffering he had just witnessed and the larger suffering of the world. As he went deep into the suffering he had seen, his mind, for the first time in his life, found a profound sense of peace and serenity. His mind was now relaxed and at ease. It was during this time that he encountered another wanderer, a holy man, whose eyes were bright and calm, whose demeanor exuded a profound peace. Siddhartha, your eyes are bright and calm. You look peaceful. Holy man, I am tired of the so-called pleasures that were to be found in the company of others. But now I have left my home and live in the forest caves. I wandered around in search of a way to put an end to my sufferings. Now I have found the true meaning of my life. From now on, I will start searching for true happiness and find a cure for the sufferings of the world. The encounter with the peaceful ascetic, coupled with his deep meditation, solidified Siddhartha's resolve. He knew his path lay not in external pleasures, but in an internal quest for truth. The king's final plea and the escape. Siddhartha returned to the palace, his mind made up. Siddhartha, Father, Father. King Suddhodana, yes, son, I am here. Siddhartha, I am here with a request to make, a request that will break my heart. King Suddhodana, despairingly, Father, understand. I want to become a homeless wanderer so that I can search for a path to put an end to all pain and misery in the world. Allow me to explore this path. What will I do now? My fear has come true. The king, deeply distraught, tried one last desperate appeal. King Suddhodana, Siddhartha, my dear, please forget the idea of leaving the palace. You are still too young to lead the lonely life of a holy man. Put off your decision until you're old enough. Moreover, you are the heir to the throne. You will rule this kingdom. Siddhartha, I will rule this kingdom if you give me 4 promises. The king, desperate to keep him, listened intently. Siddhartha, 1. You should never grow old. 2. You should never fall ill. 3. You should not die. And 4. You should not be in a state of unhappiness, even for a moment. These were, of course, impossible promises. Siddhartha was laying bare the fundamental truths of impermanence and suffering that the king had so diligently tried to hide. The king called for his ministers, his face etched with worry. King Suddhodana, you seem to be deeply disturbed. Can I help you, my lord? King Suddhodana, Minister, we must watch Siddhartha carefully. I want you to guard the prince round the clock. The prince should not be allowed to leave the palace for any reason. That is my order. The minister conveyed the king's strict orders to Siddhartha. Minister, Prince, your father has passed orders that you should not leave this palace. Siddhartha, frustrated, I am really upset. Why does he not understand me? That very night, the images of suffering, the old man, the sick man, the dead body, the cycle of pain in the animal kingdom, the misery of illness, and the inevitability of death, kept going around and around in his mind. The thought of being trapped in the palace, shielded from truth, was unbearable. Siddhartha, I have made up my mind. Tonight somehow I have to leave this palace. After dinner, as he prepared to leave, he knew the palace doors would be heavily guarded. He neared Yashodhara's chamber. Siddhartha, to himself, I must see my son. Oh, she is sleeping. If I lift the prince's hand to take my son in my arms, she will awaken, and my departure will be hampered. But I will find the truth. I will come back and see him. He resisted the urge to hold his son, knowing it would be a farewell that could be prevented. He chose the path of greater, albeit painful, immediate separation for the sake of universal liberation. By the time Siddhartha reached the entrance, all the guards were found sleeping. A supernatural power, perhaps the Devas, celestial beings, who had been watching his journey, had put all the guards into such a profound sleep that no sound whatsoever would waken them. Siddhartha to Channa, Channa, wake up. Channa, groggy prince, what are you doing here at this midnight hour? Siddhartha, whispering, Shoo, do not make noise. Bring my horse. I feel like going for a ride. Channa, as if in a trance, compelled by an unseen force or Siddhartha's powerful resolve, carried out the orders. He brought Kanthaka, Siddhartha's magnificent white horse. Siddhartha, let us leave this place. Siddhartha rode Kanthaka, with Channa fully riding quietly into the dark. Upon reaching the edge of the city, the prince took one last, poignant look back at Kapilavastu, his home, his family, his past. Siddhartha, I will not return to Kapilavastu until I have found the means to end all the agony of the world. They journeyed all night, and at dawn, they neared the dwelling of many holy people, ascetics and hermits. The prince was happy, for he was finally starting his real journey. Siddhartha, Channa, thanks for all your help. Now take this horse and go back to the palace. Channa, his voice breaking, what? Am I going back without you? I can't bear this. Please do not cry, Channa. I can understand your grief. Take all these jewels. I do not need them anymore. And tell my father that I have not left them in anger. I still love them. Am leaving because I love them most. When I finish my search, I will return to them. With a heavy heart, Channa took the reins of Kanthaka and slowly led the horse back to the palace, leaving Siddhartha behind to embark on his solitary quest for enlightenment. Finally, Channa reached the capital. Guards. Channa, where were you? We were searching for you. Hope you know the whereabouts of our prince. Channa, sobbing, he has left us. He has renounced royal life forever. The news sent a wave of despair through the palace. The king's worst fears had materialized. Siddhartha, the beloved prince, the heir to the throne, had chosen a path of profound renunciation, driven by an unyielding desire to unravel the mystery of suffering and find true liberation, not just for himself, but for all beings. His journey, the pursuit of ultimate truth, had truly begun. Chapter 6. Personal Reflections and the Path to Awakening. The story of Siddhartha's early life, culminating in his great renunciation, is far more than a historical account. It is a profound allegory for the human condition and the universal search for meaning. As a longtime student of Buddhist philosophy, I find certain aspects of this narrative particularly resonant and instructive. The illusion of control, a father's love, a son's destiny. King Suddhodana's desperate attempts to shield Siddhartha from suffering are deeply poignant. His actions, born of immense love and a desire to secure his lineage, reveal a fundamental human tendency to control our environment, to create a bubble of comfort and pleasure, hoping to insulate ourselves and our loved ones from the inevitable hardships of life. The king spent vast resources building opulent palaces, carefully orchestrating every sight, sound, and experience for his son. He believed that if Siddhartha never saw suffering, he would never know suffering, and thus never be compelled to abandon his royal destiny. My personal reflection here is that this is a microcosm of how many of us live our lives. We chase after fleeting pleasures, accumulate wealth, build walls of comfort around ourselves, and often try to shield our children from any form of discomfort or pain. We are, in essence, trying to create our own three palaces, hoping that by doing so we can avoid the harsh realities of existence. However, the narrative powerfully demonstrates the futility of such efforts. Life, in its raw, unfiltered truth, will always find a way to penetrate even the most meticulously constructed illusion. The foresights were not random encounters. They were, in a spiritual sense, destined to be seen. They were the cracks in the king's carefully built facade, allowing the light of truth to pour in. This teaches us that true wisdom doesn't come from avoiding reality, but from confronting it head-on, with courage and an open heart. The power of empathy. The swan incident revisited. The incident with the swan, while appearing early in Siddhartha's life, is a foundational moment that highlights his innate and extraordinary empathy. Devdutta, his cousin, represents the conventional mindset. I shot it, so it's mine. This reflects a possessive, ego-driven view of the world, where ownership is determined by conquest or force. Siddhartha, on the other hand, embodies a deeply compassionate perspective. I saved its life, so it belongs to me for its recovery. This isn't merely a dispute over a bird. It's a philosophical debate about the very nature of existence and our relationship to other beings. Is life a commodity to be taken, or a sacred gift to be preserved? Siddhartha's argument, brilliantly supported by the wise old man, champions the principle of life over death, compassion over cruelty. From my long-term study, this incident serves as a powerful foreshadowing of the core of Buddhist teachings: metta, loving-kindness, and karuna, compassion. It shows that the seeds of enlightenment were not suddenly planted at the moment of his renunciation, but were intrinsic to his character from a young age. His journey was not about acquiring something new, but about fully realizing and manifesting what was already within him. This underscores the Buddhist belief that all beings have the potential for awakening, and that compassion is a natural outflow of a truly awakened mind. The inevitability of impermanence, the shock of the four sights. For me, the four sights represent the most pivotal turning point in Siddhartha's journey. They are not merely physical observations. They are deeply personal encounters with the universal truths of dukkha, suffering, anicca, impermanence, and anatta, non-self/emptiness, which would later form the cornerstone of his teachings. Old age. The old man reveals that youth and vitality are fleeting. We are all on an irreversible journey towards physical decline. This challenges our attachment to physical beauty and strength. Sickness. The sick man shows the vulnerability of the body. Even the strongest can be afflicted by illness, reminding us of our fragility and the unpredictability of health. Death. The dead body is the ultimate undeniable truth. All that is born must die. This shatters the illusion of permanence and forces a confrontation with our own mortality and that of our loved ones. The hermit. This figure, often overlooked in popular retellings, is crucial. He represents the possibility of liberation from the suffering inherent in the first three sights. He embodies a path of detachment and inner peace, a practical response to the unassailable truths of impermanence and suffering. My personal take on these sights is that they represent a shattering of illusion. Siddhartha's initial shock gives way to a profound realization. He is not just observing these phenomena. He is experiencing them as a direct threat to his own assumed state of happiness. The palace had provided a false sense of security, but the outside world revealed the deep existential anxiety that underpins all worldly existence. His profound question, how can people be so happy when they know that they will die one day, encapsulates the very essence of the human dilemma and the impetus for his spiritual quest. It's a question that, when truly pondered, can be a catalyst for our own spiritual awakening. Rahula, the fetter and the fuel. The timing of Rahula's birth. Just as Siddhartha is grappling with the profound truths of suffering and impermanence, is highly symbolic. His name, fetter or bondage, from Siddhartha's perspective, might seem harsh to a modern ear. However, within the context of his spiritual quest, it represents the very attachments, even loving ones, that bind us to the cycle of suffering, samsara. This isn't to say Siddhartha didn't love his son. On the contrary, his choice to leave was born of an even greater love, a love for all beings, including his son, that compelled him to find a universal solution to suffering. He understood that true liberation required cutting all ties that could pull him back into the worldly cycle. His brief glimpse of his sleeping wife and child, and his decision not to awaken them, highlights the immense personal sacrifice involved in his great renunciation. It wasn't an act of abandonment but an act of profound, expansive compassion, sacrificing immediate personal comfort for universal enlightenment. The paradox here is that the very fetter, Rahula, also became a potent fuel for his quest. The desire to free his son, his wife, his family, and all sentient beings from the cycle of birth, old age, sickness, and death propelled him forward. The great renunciation, a leap of faith into the unknown. Siddhartha's decision to leave the palace in the dead of night, stripping himself of his royal robes, cutting his hair, and embracing the life of a homeless wanderer, is known as the Great Renunciation, Mahabhinishkramana. This act is not an act of escapism but a deliberate, courageous leap of faith. It signifies a radical commitment to truth, a willingness to shed all worldly identities, comforts, and expectations in pursuit of ultimate liberation. From my perspective, this moment is a powerful reminder that true transformation often requires letting go of everything we hold dear, everything that defines us in a worldly sense. It's about detaching from the superficial to connect with the profound. The guards falling asleep can be seen not just as a supernatural event, but as a metaphor for the universe aligning with one's deepest, most selfless intention. When one's purpose is pure and driven by compassion, obstacles can miraculously dissolve. His exchange with Channa, where he gives away his jewels and expresses his enduring love for his family, further emphasizes that his departure was not an act of resentment or anger, but a profound act of love and a commitment to a higher purpose. He was not rejecting them but seeking a way to liberate them from suffering. Personal insight. The seeds of awakening are within. The enduring lesson from Siddhartha's early life is that the seeds of awakening are within each of us. While Siddhartha's journey was extraordinary, the core impulses that drove him, the discomfort with suffering, the search for meaning, the yearning for peace, are universal. We may not encounter the four sights in the same dramatic fashion, but the realities of old age, sickness, and death are ever present. The question is, how do we respond to them? Do we turn away, seeking distraction, or do we turn towards them, seeking understanding and a path to alleviate their impact? Siddhartha's story, especially the swan incident in his early contemplative nature, suggests that compassion and wisdom are not solely acquired through rigorous training, but are often innate qualities that can be cultivated and brought to full bloom. His journey from an insulated prince to a homeless seeker is a testament to the transformative power of confronting reality, embracing compassion, and making the courageous choice to embark on a path of self-discovery and universal benefit. It's a call to examine our own gilded cages and to find the courage to step beyond them in pursuit of a deeper, more liberating truth. Chapter 7: Stories and Examples. Echoes of Siddhartha's Journey in Modern Lives. The archetypal journey of Siddhartha, from comfort to questioning, from illusion to enlightenment, resonates deeply across cultures and centuries. While few of us are born princes, many experience similar moments of disillusionment or profound questioning that lead us to seek deeper meaning. Here are a few stories that, while not exact replicas, echo themes from Siddhartha's path. Story 1: The Tech Billionaire's Empty Palace. Let's imagine a modern-day Siddhartha. Akira Tanaka, a brilliant tech entrepreneur from Japan. Akira built a hugely successful social media platform, accumulating immense wealth and living a life that most would envy. He owned multiple mansions, luxury cars, and a private jet. His days were filled with high-stakes meetings, lavish parties, and constant adulation. His palace was a digital empire, carefully curated to present an image of perfection and boundless joy. He insulated himself from negativity, surrounded by sycophants and algorithms that filtered out dissenting opinions. However, despite his outward success, a subtle restlessness began to gnaw at him. One day, while scrolling through his own platform, he stumbled upon raw, unfiltered news. A documentary about a severe poverty crisis in a developing nation. Images of emaciated children, desperate parents, and dilapidated shelters flashed across his screen. This was his sick man and dead body site. His meticulously crafted digital bubble burst. Later, attending a wellness retreat, his version of venturing outside the palace, he observed a group of volunteers, not seeking recognition or profit, but genuinely helping others. They had a radiant, calm presence, reminiscent of Siddhartha's hermit. Akira realized his fulfilled wish: his company, his wealth, wasn't fulfilling him. The constant pursuit of more was exhausting and empty. He didn't renounce his entire fortune overnight, but he began to divest from certain aspects of his company, investing heavily in ethical AI and sustainable technology. He founded charities focused on global health and education, using his vast resources not for personal indulgence, but for the benefit of others. His renunciation was a shift in values, a reprioritization of purpose from self-gain to collective well-being. He still works, but his work now stems from a place of compassion, not just ambition. Story 2: The Artist and the Impermanence of Creation. Consider Elena Petrova, a celebrated ballerina from Russia. From childhood, her life was dedicated to the pursuit of physical perfection and artistic expression. Every muscle, every movement was meticulously trained. Her palace was the grand theater, the fleeting applause, the fleeting beauty of her performances. She lived in a world of exquisite form and ephemeral grace. Then came the injury, a devastating tear in her Achilles tendon, ending her performing career in an instant. This was her old age and sickness in one brutal blow. The body she had so meticulously sculpted, the instrument of her art, had failed her. She experienced profound despair, a deep sorrow akin to Siddhartha's after seeing the dead man. Her identity, tied so closely to her physical prowess and the transient beauty of performance, dissolved. During her long, painful recovery, she started painting. Initially, it was a distraction, a way to cope with her physical limitations. But through painting, she began to explore the themes of impermanence and the beauty of decay. She painted crumbling ruins, wilting flowers, and the changing seasons. She realized that even though her dance career was over, the essence of her artistic spirit, the desire to create and express, was still alive. Her hermit was a wise art therapist who guided her towards embracing the impermanence of all things, including her own body and career. Elena's renunciation wasn't of her art, but of her rigid attachment to a specific form of it. She discovered a new, more enduring source of creative fulfillment, one not dependent on the fleeting applause or the perfect body. She now teaches art, inspiring others to find beauty in imperfection and resilience in change, transforming her personal suffering into a source of universal wisdom. Story 3. The Doctor Confronting Mortality Daily. Let's look at Dr. Ben Carter, an emergency room physician in a bustling city hospital. His palace is the hospital itself, a place of intense action, where he constantly battles against sickness and death. He is surrounded by cutting-edge technology and a sense of purpose in saving lives. Yet, unlike Siddhartha, his exposure to suffering is daily and overwhelming. He sees the sick man and dead body multiple times a shift. He witnesses families grappling with grief, Rahula as the pain of attachment. Initially, Ben was driven by the desire to fix everything, to conquer disease and death. But years of witnessing relentless suffering, despite his best efforts, led to burnout and a deep existential weariness. He realized that while he could alleviate pain, he could not stop the inevitable cycle of illness, aging, and death. His hermit moment came during a particularly quiet night shift, after losing a young patient he had fought desperately to save. A compassionate, older nurse, seeing his despair, simply sat with him and shared her own experiences of accepting the limits of medicine and the importance of compassionate presence. She spoke of how some suffering simply is, and that the true art lies in being fully present with it, not just trying to eliminate it. Ben's renunciation wasn't leaving medicine, but renouncing his rigid attachment to fixing everything. He shifted his focus from solely curing to also caring, from battling death to embracing the human experience, including its vulnerabilities. He began practicing mindfulness to process the daily trauma, and he became an advocate for palliative care and grief support, understanding that true healing encompasses more than just physical recovery. He learned that even within the suffering of the hospital, there could be profound peace in selfless service and acceptance. These stories illustrate that Siddhartha's path is not exclusive to a prince 2,600 years ago. It is a universal human journey of confronting suffering, questioning assumed truths, and finding profound meaning by looking beyond the superficial, eventually leading to a more compassionate and awakened way of living. Conclusion: the enduring wisdom of renunciation and the path forward. The tale of Siddhartha Gautama's early life and his monumental great renunciation is not merely a historical account. It is a timeless narrative that offers profound insights into the human condition. It serves as a powerful testament to the transformative potential that lies within each of us when we dare to question, to observe, and to step beyond the confines of our self-imposed illusions. Lessons from Siddhartha's journey: the inevitability of suffering. Dukkha King Suddhodana's elaborate efforts to shield Siddhartha from suffering ultimately failed. This teaches us that suffering in its various forms, old age, sickness, death, and dissatisfaction, is an inherent part of human existence. It is not something that can be perpetually avoided or suppressed. Trying to build a palace of eternal pleasure is a futile endeavor. True wisdom begins with acknowledging and understanding this fundamental truth. The illusion of permanence. Anicca Siddhartha's encounters with the aged, the sick, and the dead shattered his belief in the permanence of youth, health, and life itself. Everything is impermanent. Our bodies, our possessions, our relationships, even our emotions. Clinging to what is transient inevitably leads to dissatisfaction and sorrow. Recognizing impermanence can paradoxically free us from attachment and open us to the beauty of the present moment. The power of compassion, Karuna. From the swan incident, we see Siddhartha's innate compassion. His path was not one of selfish pursuit, but was profoundly driven by a deep empathy for the suffering of all beings. The ultimate goal of his quest was to find a way to alleviate suffering, not just for himself, but for everyone. This highlights that spiritual awakening is inextricably linked with an expansion of the heart. The courage of renunciation. Siddhartha's great renunciation was not an act of weakness or escapism, but one of immense courage and profound resolve. It was a conscious decision to give up worldly comfort, power, and familial ties in pursuit of a higher truth that he believed would benefit all. This teaches us that sometimes, true liberation requires letting go of what we mistakenly believe defines us. It's about detaching from external conditions to find inner freedom. The search for meaning. Siddhartha's journey was fundamentally a quest for meaning beyond superficial pleasures. When confronted with the stark realities of life, he didn't turn away. He turned inward, seeking a fundamental solution to the existential dilemmas of humanity. This inspires us to look beyond the mundane and to ask deeper questions about purpose, happiness, and our place in the universe. The enduring legacy of Buddha's story. For all of us living in our modern palaces, whether they be comfortable homes, successful careers, or carefully curated online personas, the story of Siddhartha serves as a timeless mirror. Are we truly happy, or are we, like the young prince, experiencing a subtle restlessness beneath the surface of our apparent well-being? Are we bravely confronting the realities of life? Or are we, like King Suddhodana, trying to build walls against the inevitable? The journey of Siddhartha Gautama, the man who would become the Buddha, is a powerful invitation. It invites us to pause, to look deeply at our lives, and to consider the profound truths that lie beneath the surface of everyday existence. It encourages us to cultivate compassion, to embrace impermanence, and to embark on our own personal quests for true liberation. This is not a call to abandon your life or your loved ones, but a call to awaken within your current circumstances. To see the old man, the sick man, and the dead man not as terrifying exceptions, but as universal teachers. To recognize the hermit not as an isolated figure, but as a symbol of the peace that can be found through inner work and understanding. As we conclude this chapter of Buddha's story, consider this. What gilded cages might you be living in? What truths are you, perhaps unknowingly, shielding yourself from? And what first step might you take, inspired by the profound journey of Siddhartha, towards a more awakened and compassionate life? The path to understanding begins not with a grand renunciation of the world, but with a simple, profound shift in perception, a willingness to truly see. What is one illusion in your own life that you're ready to explore? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and join us next time on Buddha's Story, as we delve deeper into the extraordinary life of the Awakened One.